Alright, so this is a form of note taking mostly. Um, though I guess it speaks to the progression. The nows have collapsed upon this moment, and I must respond. And it's very much worth noting how fucked up I am. And that's what comes into the topic of daimons. First order, second order, and third order daimons. Some people call them demons. Some people call them angels. Some people call them guardian angels. Some people call them archangels. But that all has to do with the geometry of a disk and a sphere. I was listening to earlier today, which I wouldn't say was the primary mover that instigated this note taking. But it informed the inception of my pressing record. It was a Harvard Divinity School discussion on the twin. I forget the author's name. It was something like the Divine Twin. I can't remember the name of the book, and I can't remember the name of the author. But I remember his, I guess, mentor or something like that was Greg Shaw. A very sveltly, and I don't mean that even in a bad way, because sometimes when us grungy folk talk about the svelte, we speak about it degradingly. But this particularly well put together, fashionable man, I found to be quite good. And his discussion on the divine other, theurgy, and iamblichus, I found illuminating, elucidating. I found to be quite good. And it stirred something within me that I may speak to it. Primarily, this is a form of note-taking, though someday it may reach someone. I want to do it as a form of note-taking. I must do it because it may reach someone. May reach a few. But that it may reach anyone, including me, is why it's a must. So, now once again, I gotta get into it as if I were speaking to myself. As if I were speaking to myself. Alright, so last time I was talking about iamblichus. Briefly, Sejong mostly. Alright. So I'm just gonna double up on it. Sejong the Great. recently I've become aware of the fact that vegan Christians will save the world. And I didn't know until today, when, after I watched the Harvard Divinity School YouTube video, I searched Korean Christians and I searched Korean vegans. And I didn't know before a few minutes ago that most Koreans are Christians because of the way in which Catholicism hit Korea 100, 200, 300 years after Sejong the Great. And I may have given too much credence last time to some of the philosophies of North Korea. But I think we should still keep what I said in context. We do not want to damn others and send them to hell. Jesus went to hell to kill death, right? It's just like in Lord of the Rings when Aragorn, what's his name? Freed. When all those souls who like skipped out prior, all those dead folk, spirit ghosts who helped Aragorn later on, and he freed them, that's what we're going for. We're not looking to send people to hell. We're looking not to unleash hell. We're looking to bind hell, free the spirits bound by hell. That's what we're going for. So any philosophy, any religion that reaches toward damning, or rather also any interpretation of a religion that seeks towards damning, we will dissolve. We. What we? You and me. There isn't anybody else. So, in the Harvard Divinity School thing I was watching, it was talking about iamblichus and theurgy. And the thing I gained from that discussion mostly was the concept of the guardian angel. Now, daimons, like in Greek philosophy, there are daimons. And daimons exist throughout Greek philosophy. Some people say it goes from Heraclitus to about 500 AD. I say Greek philosophy ends with iamblichus. I say Proclus and Damascus of the Neoplatonists are kind of the fizzling out. Iamblichus is the pinnacle. Heraclitus is the pinnacle, and the lost pre-Heraclitian, because Heraclitus is considered a pre-Socratic, which is almost like an insult. Because Heraclitus and Pythagoras are the beginning, kind of Grecian philosophy. Socrates is a fictional account created by Plato, a Pythagorean dropout. In some sense, a non-Heraclitian. And as like Fritjof Capra said, like, if we'd been more Heraclitian and less Platonic, and more Laodicean and less Buddhist, the world might be a better place. I'm still working on the Eastern things, but I get the Plato things, if only for the Republic. So here's a short history of proper Greek philosophy so far as I can account for. Heraclitus, Aristotle, Chaldean oracles, Iamblichus. Pare it down to that. I mean, not really, but that's pretty good. Now, that accounts also in that same time period for Old and New Testament. Here's a short paring down of the Old and New Testament. Melchizedek. Pre-Abrahamic. We call it the Abrahamic religions. The power of Abram to Abraham was that 10% that Melchizedek bestowed. And then Jesus was the fulfillment of Melchizedek. No ancestors, no heirs. No ancestors, no heirs. What might that mean? That might mean in the whole idea of reincarnation, because like considering what's his name, Julian Jaynes, Julian Jaynes in the bicameral mind, right? Multiple personalities, multiple personality disorder, or multiple personality order. So if you, right, say you are a soul who has been, and yeah, I'm referring also to the Jewish rabbi who is, well, so far he's the only Jewish rabbi I've found that I'm just like, this guy's on it. Is I forget his first name, Manis, Rabbi Manis Friedman, something Manis Friedman. And the way he speaks about like death or reincarnation or souls, or the way his students or his church or his synagogue speaks of like souls and souls coming again and again, speaks to the way in which I prefer to think of reincarnation and then resurrection. And then so back to the Hindu on the idea of like breaking the cycle of reincarnation. But then that has to do with fullness and emptiness, or fullness and nothingness. And there are those who prefer to go toward nothingness, right? And there are those who prefer to go to fullness. To my mind, the idea of fullness means you reach the omega point with your individuality, which means you inform the omega point, which makes the omega point greater. And if you go toward nothingness, nothingness is the ground upon which God creates, to my mind. Nothingness is incredibly special. But to seek the nothingness from whence we came means to go backwards in time to the beginning, which negates the creation. And that's a big part of our problem. So the whole idea of, if you take Julian Jaynes bicameralism, which is a little bit associated with schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder, and what other people call shapeshifters. if you've been reincarnated multiple times, in your last reincarnation, before you break that cycle, you inherit all of those reincarnations, and thus you become a shapeshifter. I'm just trying to figure this out. If you're Melchizedekian, that might mean that you break the cycle of reincarnation within one lifetime. You do not reincarnate. You don't shapeshift. You don't become bicameral. You are the one thing that you are, and you break reincarnation within one birth-death cycle. It means you're a particular kind of number, not special amongst the forms of people, but special in your own way. And you could not have done it had not those other reincarnational forms come before you, so don't get a big head about it. If you're Melchizedekian. And I'm thinking specifically, I know there's more to it than this, but like I'm thinking specifically between the priesthood of Aaron and the priesthood of Melchizedek. You know, in the priesthood of Aaron, there are predecessors, there are what antecedents, or there are successors. Like there's this lineage. While with Melchizedek, there's no predecessors, there's no procession, there's two. Right? Nothing. You. Infinity. That's it. Right? But that's because you're that type of number. But the purpose of that type of number is not to defeat the reincarnational forms, but to inform reincarnational forms, that they may inform you. So it's like crop circles, particular types of geometry. You fill a place, that's your job. So some people are pretty much meant to be exactly who they fucking are. That might be you. Other people are meant to be all kinds of fucking things. And that might be who you are. I'm not saying I get it right, but I'm trying to work this shit out somewhere between the ordered craziness, because there's disordered craziness, which is schizophrenia, right? But that has to do with the I am and the am I. I am the first thing, right? And what set this off today, I'm thinking about ellipses, right? So I've been working on this for a few days. Ellipses. I'm like trying to figure out how they spin, the easiest geometry of how to spin an ellipse and how to spin it a couple different ways. But then today I was thinking about, like, because you have a disc in a sphere. So you have a disc, a two-dimensional plane, a hemispheric plane within a sphere. And you can rotate that disc, and you can spin that disc. And if you rotate and spin that disc at the same time at the same rate, what you end up with, two-dimensionally, as a collapsed cross-section, is a yin-yang. But three-dimensionally, it's kind of like a baseball. Korean flag, Sejong the Great. Which brings back to Korean vegan Christians. Korean vegan Christians have a power present day in the world. If you are a Korean Christian vegan of Alayatsoian Iamblikian lineage of thought, not necessarily scholastically or academically, but philosophically. Not even philosophically, spiritually. If you're of that mindset, your disproportionate power as a lever of change is so great. China the other day introduced the yuan as a cryptocurrency. Now, Bitcoin came about a long time ago. If a South Korean, I've not yet been into cryptocurrency and all, because I'm into the idea of what will come way later, which is a completely transparent currency. But if a vegan, Christian, South Korean creates a cryptocurrency, I'm all in. But yeah, so I was working on this. Last couple days, I gotta make an animation. I don't know if it'll come or not, Where am I gonna go from here? Where do we go now? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Where do we go? Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm gonna take a minute. I like beverages. Iamblichus. Theurgy. Right. Daimons. Greek philosophy. Plato. Fuck Plato. Everybody was responding to Plato. Why? Because his work was preserved. So much was lost. There was an entire Milu. So some people talk about how Plato talked about dreams and it was lost elsewhere. But that's not the fact. The fact is there was this entire library of dream work knowledge, and it just so happened that Plato spoke to it. What is now lost, this entire library of dream work knowledge that he spoke to, that others did not speak to, because it was common knowledge, right? You write a book in English, but you don't include in the preface to your book the phonetic pronunciation of the English language, because it's given. It's so given that it's not even stated as given. But Plato remarked upon it, so he's given credit, which would be like Diane, what's her name? She wrote a grammar book. Diana Hacker wrote a book on grammar. I remember I had it in college. Never read it, but. So it would be like giving her credit for English when she was just a commentator. Maybe a good one. Might not have had it all right. And that's the same thing that happened with Plato, because there was this whole Milu, there was this whole cosmos, there was this whole universe of discussion around the whole gig that was lost, whether the Library of Alexandria, whether things were lost there, or whether people just took shit, hid shit, however it is, more and more stuff's going to come out. But to give Plato credit for it, read the end of Plato's Republic, and you won't like Plato very much anymore. They say that Plato's Republic uses reason to take the fool to a reasonable place. But what it really is Plato's Republic uses rhetoric to manipulate a coward to a false position. And I'm not even harshing on cowards for that. We should be compassionate and not manipulative with cowards. And we should teach cowards to be brave. But anyway, the whole deal, I am. With the divinity, and again, I'm just kind of taking notes, so it's all over the place, but I'll understand what I'm talking about. I am that first moment. Right. There's the Wu Chi, which is the ground upon which the I am speaks. I am. So there's the Wu Chi, the empty circle, the dotted circle. The I am is that circumpunctual sun. I am. Am I creates the black and white, the up and down black and white division, which is a circle, one half black, one half white, which splits off into the black circle and the white circle. But what it really is a sphere, hemispheric plane. And then, as a disk in a sphere, both spinning and rotating, it creates a yin-yang. As a collapsed cross-section of more or less a baseball. I'm just working on it. But it fits. And we like things that fit. But we also like where it doesn't quite fit. Because I don't believe the yin-yang. Because in the baseball... Alright. If this hand were black and this hand were white, right? Then this would be my yin-yang. Right, this would be my yin-yang. This would be my sinusoidal S-curve, and these green dots would be the black and white. So if one hand was black and one hand was white, and one of these green dots was white and one was black, then this would be the yin-yang. But as you spun it, it would be the baseball or the basketball. But I'm not convinced that the shape I've described would be that, because then there wouldn't just be two dots, because there'd also be two dots on the back side, which would be here and here. And of course, the hands aren't a sphere, so we're just kind of representing it. So then there'd really be 4 dots. And if you had them aligned correctly in a transparent globe, it would look like 2 dots. But as soon as you turned it, it would be 4. But those 4 dots would be on a hemispheric plane with a pole. And I'm all into that because of planets and magnetism, but I'm not into that because of tetrahedron. So if we had, 4 points on a cross, so never mind the ones on the wrist and the middle finger. Just look at the index finger. So if we had 4 points on a cross, and they'd be in a plane, spinning as a baseball, except a baseball isn't the yin-yang I drew. Its lobes of its globe are a bit stretched out, which is somewhat like that cross stretching out a bit, as if it were, because then you have 4 points that are separated, and I don't know if you could tell, but those 4 points in this situation, never mind the middle finger points, never mind the wrist points, just the index finger points, then you have a tetrahedron, right? And if you look at that tetrahedron this way, it's parallel lines. If you look at it this way, it's perpendicular lines. Never mind this point, never mind the wrist point, just the index fingers. Right? In this way, it's a cross. In this way, it's a pole and an antipole in universal hyperbolic geometry. And in this way, it's parallel lines. So all these planar geometries are tied up in the tetrahedron. So that's why I'm not sure if this picture that I've still yet to work on, I'll probably make it. I'll probably make an animation of it. And it's interesting, that a spinning and like a rotating, spinning disk within a sphere, if you take 1 point on that, it traces out what two-dimensionally collapses to a yin-yang, which looks like a baseball. America's pastime. It traces out the shape of the Korean flag, Sejong the Great. Which brings me back to the spread of Catholicism, or Christianity, more broadly and specifically. In Korea, it was Hangul, the language created by Sejong the Great, which sounds like Saint John, who wrote, "In the beginning was the Word," and Sejong the Great created words, an entire fucking language that allowed Christianity to explode in Korea. Korean a near transliteration of the Quran. We already had a war with the Quran and it ain't over. Kinda sucks. We must have a war of peace with Korea. Must. I so hope a Korean vegan Christian will get what I'm saying. The whole deal with like free will. And that brings me back to the Harvard Divinity School discussion. Ugh. This isn't really flowing the way I want it to, but I'm going to keep going anyway because, well, I just have to. I have to remember, not forget. I'm note-taking. Probably no one will ever watch this anyway. I hope to make something someday that the right person watches. Sorry, I'm sorry for my weakness. Very, 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 very weak and cowardly, you know. I hope to have bravery where it counts. In some sense, I account for, alright, I kind of expose myself a little bit as I am, which is a kind of bravery. If I didn't allow myself to have a few pops and talk, I would have never said anything. And for that, I'm actually grateful for my lewdness, though I associate that with third order daimons. So that comes back into the Harvard Divinity School discussion of daimons, and what one of the main things that made me have to make this video today had to do with the idea of guardian angels. And to me, that is associated with third order daimons, placeholders. There's one first order daimon, essentially. Well, we'll do this two ways. There's one first order daimon, the Holy Ghost. There are many second order daimons, and they are what we normally call demons. Bad shit, which is the patterns that accumulated error of free will make within the cosmological sphere of existence. Third order daimons are where, even within that error of the second order daimons, a pattern is created on the outside that still corresponds with the Holy Ghost. So it's to say second order daimons create angels or angels, dark angels. Depends what you mean by dark. There's two different types of dark angels, at least. But like the first order daimon is the Holy Ghost. Now, what I said before is we're going to do this two ways. The zeroth order daimon is the complete Holy Ghost. The first order daimon is half possession by the Holy Ghost. Third order daimons, which I previously called second order daimons, would be completely wrong. Third order daimons would be the patterns of second order daimons, the interference patterns of second order daimons that do correspond with the first and the zeroth order daimons toward the center, which would be guardian angels, which would be placeholders, which would be the light in the darkness that the darkness perceived not, which would be the third order daimons within the second order daimons that they did not perceive. So I'll just go through it again. What I've gone through before, but I got to find better ways and more compelling ways, really. Because I don't want to be rhetorician for rhetoric's sake, but I wanted to find a nice and good and great and true and real way to speak the truth as I know it that makes as much sense to as many people as possible and or makes the most sense to the one person who's meant to receive this, that will do that which I wish to do, which is to reach as many people as possible. It seems as though I will not come to the ground, because we must build from the ground. It seems as though, even though I've hit bottoms that I don't wish to reach again, but it seems as though I must go a bit lower. But I will either reach my bottom in 10 years, about 10 years, and bring it to the top in 20-ish years myself. Or I will reach the bottom in about 20 years and die. And someone else will take it forward 20 plus years. I want it all to happen yesterday, so I have a lot of patience to learn. I'm assuming that by the time, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be around in 20 years, and whether I fade then or not, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I'll pretty much look like the guy in either on the album cover of Megadeth's Euthanasia, or the guy in the video of Metallica's Unforgiven. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much where I'll be at, or like the blind guy in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, who answers the door when Robin Hood comes back. That old movie from, I think, the 90s. That's pretty much where I'm going to be at in 20 years. And I don't know if I'll die then or what, but yeah, I think that's how it's going to go. Yeah. But anyway, but yeah, Sejong the Great, he was going blind and dying, and he made the Korean language change the world forever. And Euler, he was blind, pretty much considered the best mathematician ever. Though I kind of think Euler was like the opposite, or the anti-Sejong, not entirely. But like, I think Euler actually knew way more math than he published, even though his work is still being published, because he made so much that it's yet to be kept up with. And if he was that smart, he was smart enough to be smarter. And he probably could have made a 2-volume set of complete mathematics that would unlock everything. So in some sense, I feel like all of Euler's work is a little bit of a wild goose chase, meant to hide the truth, but not forever. It's kind of like Nikola Tesla, when he built a machine in his mind and ran it for a couple months to see how it would wear. And like the idea of engineered obsolescence, people don't realize how important the concept of engineered obsolescence is to the mechanics of the world. Because if you worked at a place that manufactured something that lasted forever, You'd be out of a job. You wouldn't have no money. That's one of the reasons that universal basic income, I think, is being brought into the picture, is because we actually have to slow down people's work now. Because like 80% of work is just work to keep workers working. To keep getting money. Like, people don't realize some of the accidental little scratches inside of mechanisms are what actually, like, there are bearings that are actually engineered with all those little scratches inside, what looks like more or less a smooth tube, but there are very tiny microscopic little scratches that determine, the million billion trillion turns that it will take to just slightly nudge that bearing out of place and make it irrelevant. But that's constructed in such a way to keep people going to work, to get money, to buy food. Until we redetermine what worth is. I don't expect anybody to get that. But so all these daimons, all these quote-unquote, what they call platonic forms, fucking thieving liar, what they call platonic forms, are these cymatic, spintronic, cymatic spiritual forms operating in the noumenal planum as a mental monadic planum, somewhat like a pre-vacuum. So if you have the cosmological plane of the universe, there's a sphere. And most of the universe or cosmos, they say, is made out of dark energy or dark matter. But there may be two components to the dark energy and the dark matter, a north and south pole. So there's the universe, which is mostly flat. As it so happens, we are in the center of the universe we can see. Roughly 5 billion light years, or whatever. But we're within the middle of the universe that we can see. And there's a cosmological universal plane, and there's no reason to suspect that there's a dark energy, or what we identify within the universe as dark energy and dark matter might have two components within a greater sphere that interact, and as those things interact, they create moments that we call or identify as dark energy, dark matter. Which may be the potentialities of free will that we could move into. potentiality moments of the future. The places where step leaders touch before a moment collapses to distribution or discharge or charge. But when we choose wrong, I killed a bunch of Tweety birds when I was younger. I killed Tweety birds. I killed frogs. When I was a little kid, I used to go fishing with frogs. We'd go out to the pond. I used to live in a trailer park when I was a little kid, and we'd go cut across the boundary of the trailer park into the nice neighborhood where they had a little pond. We'd catch us some frogs or some frog eggs or some tadpoles, put them on a hook, and go fishing. Catch some pike, catch some fucking eels, whatever. Catch a turtle. Didn't think nothing of it. But then when I got older, I just, as a hurting young person, probably due to some of the shit that happened to me, I just flat out killed a bunch of fucking frogs. Then I got a BB gun. Had a friend come over. He showed me how to kill a Tweety bird. Killed a bunch of Tweety birds. That shit still haunts me. I have not cleaned my soul from it. And then as a teenager, when my life was particularly bleak, I picked off a bunch of Tweety birds, woodpecker, squirrels at the bird feeder at my folks' house. I'll talk about that more at some other time. To a lot of people, it would sound almost harmless. But trust me when I tell you, it's one of the worst things I ever did. Probably the worst thing I ever did. I dare not ask forgiveness for it. There's no forgiveness for it. There's only resolution. What does that mean? Resolution means making that action impossible. We're here to kill ideas. There are unleashed ideas, second-order daimons, that we are here to kill. Those second-order daimons are constructed in such a way and coordinated in such a way that they more or less can be considered to constitute what most people would commonly refer to as either Satan or the devil. If our compassion is great, we even forgive the devil. As an individual, as a soul. But we destroy the idea that animates that individual, that coordinates these accumulated errors. Pandora's box was opened. That is the second-order daimons, what people normally call demons. First-order demons or zeroth-order demons, those aren't demons. Those are the Holy Ghost. Third-order demons are guardian angels. They're the light in the darkness They're the places in which the interference patterns of second-order daimons accidentally or occidentally or reoccidentally align with the first and 0th order daimon of the Holy Ghost. So as far as the divine double goes, the divine double is when, essentially, you have enough third order daimons. Most people are lucky if they get one third order daimon. If you get filled with more, and that would be a guardian angel. But some people are encircled by angels or guardian angels, right? Third order daimons. If you have enough third order daimons in you, placeholders, that push out second order daimons to make room for the first order daimon of the Holy Ghost. Now, it should be recognized that your own soul is essentially the placeholder for the fourth order daimon, or if you consider the 0, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd order daimons as the 4 and you as the 5th, then you have a tetrahedron with a center 5 points, tetrahedron 4 points, the center, the 5th point. If you have a guardian angel, or a large enough guardian angel, or enough guardian angels, you create enough space within you pushing out those other daimons, which are also associated with gut bacteria, which is associated with the entire chemistry of the body. Yes, but don't underestimate the power of the Holy Ghost. But it's still all chemical. And some people, because I said Heraclitus, Aristotle, Chaldean oracles, Iamblichus, right? Because some people say that Plato was a spiritualist and Aristotle was a materialist because he talked about the body. The body is individuation. It means you have a point of perception. And that has to do with the whole thing between fullness and emptiness. People who worship emptiness, you know where you're going? To be erased. You don't get to keep your individuation. What's that mean? It means when you go back to the omega point, you're erased. Versus if you keep your individuation and inform the omega point, then you make God bigger, which means it's a bigger infinity. Eternities have different sizes. There are different sizes of infinity. Anybody who studies, seniors in Calculus 1, if they thought about it for like a minute, could tell you there are definitively mathematical different sized infinities. God is perfect because he's the Alpha and the Omega. I'm sorry I said he. It's part of the vernacular of the day. I know we have to work on that, and I have to work on that. Never mind that God was born from a woman. Never mind that the church is Mary. If we're half full of the Holy Ghost, if we're half full of the Holy Ghost, we can create a double. But that double isn't a twin. It's a projection. We have enough of the Holy Ghost that as ourselves, we can go to half the places the Holy Ghost goes. Not necessarily polymorphically. Why Jesus proper, within some of those old texts that they were talking about in that Harvard Divinity School discussion, why Jesus sometimes isn't considered, even though the whole idea with like Didymus Thomas, or is it Thomas Judas, or Judas Thomas, or Judas Iscariot, right? Who are the disciples? Who are the apostles? I'm not even going to dare you to make a list. You can't make a list because there is no list. Who was St. Thomas? Gospel of Thomas? Who was the Thomas sent back to India? Who was the Thomas of the Gospel of the Magi? And who wrote that last line in the Gospel of Thomas? Ain't no Thomas I know. Though, mass. Thomasian. Thomasian. Dome, Asian. Thomas, Thomas. Thomas, Thomasian. Damasian. Dome, Asian. Doe. A female deer. Doe a deer, a female deer. Mass. In Norse mythology, the doe would be associated, because there's the ram and the doe, so that would be Aries. And that would be thought and intuition. So that would be the ram and the ewe. EWE. Thomas is the intuition. The aligned intuition. The whole deal with schizophrenia, because when you enter those second order daimons, right, we're dissociated from the Holy Ghost in our innocence and naivety in youth. We're put into that realm of second order daimons, which is pretty much what the world has going for it. What we need to do, if you understand what I'm talking about, we are the ones who need to go to hell as Jesus did, so to speak. We need to race not back to the Holy Ghost at first, where we need to race to, and what we need to push for, is to push as many second order daimons, including ourselves, as embodiments engaged or being engaged with these second order daimons. We need to push toward the third order daimons, specifically Archangel Michael. And again, I'm musing a bit, just as that dude at the Harvard Divinity, but I'm working it out. It turns out I've had a knack for working it out. We need to push for the edge, for the limit toward hell. But if we hit hell in the right place, the kill shot, the target, and hit that third order daimon of guardian angels, and if we all do it in our own directions around the sphere, we can collapse the whole fucking thing, send all those second order daimons back into Pandora's box, collapse that hemorrhage into a one-dimensional ring which has no area. It has no space. It doesn't exist in space and time. It will once again exist as an infinite realm of possibilities of protection against the accumulated error of erroneous free will, which has accumulated into the second order daimons that we're fighting against, which are so large now and have become so coordinated, though off-centered and not aligned with the first, zeroth, or third order daimons. But the thing is that as the sphere grows, that shape gets bigger. Now, the I Am still gets bigger, but that shape of second order daimons is getting so much bigger, so much faster, that if we held the sphere constant, even though it's growing, and then just represented the first order versus the second order daimons, or the I Am, the Alpha and the Omega, it would look as though the Alpha and the Omega is shrinking and the second order daimons are growing. The thing is, when the second order daimons reach the edge, the bubble bursts, and however large that Omega, Alpha and Omega is, that's eternity. That's who's in heaven. That's it. Everybody else is still there, but they're completely erased. They're in that camp of folk who, like it or not, either willingly or unwillingly praised nothingness. And what's that mean? It means their soul's there, it means they have no memory, and it means that they do not inform the Omega point, which means that God only answers so much of God's question of am I, because I am precedes the am I. But am I must exist in the backwards of the I am. I am is the 51%, am I is the 49%. It's not I think, therefore I am. It's I am, therefore I think. Every time you answer something of what you are, you inform the I am. Which is the way in which God informs God's self. God's here to answer that question. I am creates the whole thing. Am I is the doubt. God's doubt is enormous. God knows all things. No one knows doubt more than God. It's our job to work for what we know. And that means facing fear and death, right? And when I say free will, I don't just mean human free will. I mean what people normally call random. The viciousness of the oceans is the fear of God. It's the viciousness of the oceans is the perfect metaphor of existence, of God. God is God's self, not being convinced of what God is. And God created free will and us to answer that question. And so long as there are these long-toothed, we're all interference patterns. We're all cymatic, spintronic, matter washing over form. if we perfect our form, as symbolized by the first order, the zeroth and first order daimonic principle of the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit, which would connect the capital M monad, God, to the lowercase monad, me, you, which might be considered soul and universal mind. When we answer questions of what we are, that answers the question for God. Everything we do out of fear answers the I am not. I am not does not exist in the Omega Point. Everything that is I am not perishes. There are no great white sharks in the Omega Point. Period.